Welcome. Hey, y'all. I'll probably be looking down because my computer's down and then my camera is up there. So let's get into it. Okay, so today I'm going to be giving my opinion on the Tiffany Haddish and the Hiltons. What's going on? And the title of this video is Are You Victimizable? I saw a couple of really good videos about this topic, and I wanted to play the videos. I'm going to play the original video in case, you don't really remember. And then I'm going to play some really good videos. I saw some really good commentary to give a separate, different, like kind of take and food for who. And then, hold on, let me make sure. Hopefully everybody can hear me. But yeah, so I'm gonna start off by playing the video in case anybody hasn't seen the video, just for a reminder. It was very weird. And then I'm going to play a couple videos from a few ladies on TikTok that I really loved, and that they gave a different take than a lot of the original takes I was seeing. And then we're going to talk about, are you victimizable and how to not be victimizable, how to handle situations when people try to victimize you, when people try to make you feel uncomfortable for whatever reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this because I don't want it to be too long. And then once I play all of those, I'll kind of go into my commentary. And feel free to post comments, or whatever, and we can get this show on the road. So let me start by playing the original video. Oh my God, it irritates my spirit so much because I can't stand like mean girl behavior and like bullying and things like that. It's like you have to be a loser to even feel bold enough to do that. So and it's weird, it's really odd that adult women are acting like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and play. This is the original video, so hopefully everybody can hear.
Now, right now, you go down and you tell this bitch you love it. Yeah, do it now. Yeah. Right now. Do it way. Yes, now. There's nothing going on. Yeah! I love it. Oh, yeah.
You're gonna come back? Want to take a video?
So, there's a New Year's Good. You know what? Listen, for a couple $100,000. Yeah. Now, right now, you go down.
Oh my God. Like her saying, and I think that was the mom. So that was Paris Hilton's mom. And I'm really ashamed because, I have to be honest, I love Paris Hilton. Not much as one could, much as a Black woman should and could love. But I like Paris Hilton has always been my guilty pleasure. I love Paris Hilton. I think she's a very intelligent person. I think she's a gorgeous person. I love Paris Hilton, but as much as one can, love like entitled white people, but it's like I'm not surprised by this behavior at all, which is why that's not really something I wouldn't go around telling everybody that I love Paris Hilton. I like Paris Hilton. It's not, don't follow her on any platform or anything, but she was entertaining back in the day and she was funny and she has a decent personality. She's very smart. She's very intellectual. She's been through a lot of things. And she has a pretty decent story for a, person born into wealth. But this mean girl thing, it's like the mom saying, go now. And then whatever she said about having $100,000 was so crazy to me. So like, you lady, how old are you for you to be trying to pressure another person into doing something you know is embarrassing. So anyway, before I get into too much commentary about that, I'm gonna show you a couple of videos that had really good takes, because like most black women, my initial take was Tiffany Haddish is embarrassing. Like, this is embarrassing, and why are you humiliating yourself? And it's like Tiffany Haddish is constantly in the news and media for doing silly shit. And it's like, why? Like, she's a caricature of what everyone believes black women to be. And I know that Tiffany Haddish has a deeper story, like she was in foster care and things like this. And it's a couple of white women who have really good video takes on this that I really loved, and I'm going to play theirs along with someone else's before I give my commentary. But it's just like, come on, this is why we work on ourselves, this is why we heal, because this is why we do shadow work, because you don't want to get caught up in these kinds of things. And so let's just get into it, because it's like it's so embarrassing, and it's so like unnecessary. And the second hand embarrassing was thick. So this lady had a really good take, and it was really positive. So let me play this.
I want to talk about Tiffany Haddish and the Hiltons at New York Fashion Week. I'm going to stay in my lane. I specifically want to talk about a personal story that I have with Tiffany Haddish and her team, because I think that it's on creators to call out the actions of the Hiltons in this scenario. So I met Tiffany Haddish and her team in the fall of 2021. I was running the #1 morning show on Clubhouse, which, listen, I know in 2024 might not sound like much, but at the time, we had some serious momentum. We had a community of 100,000. We would have 10,000 daily active listeners come through the room. We had 100,000 podcast downloads in 75 days. Like, we were doing something. And I was president and COO of Breakfast with Champions, and I knew I wanted to do something for Giving Tuesday. And Tiffany Haddish popped in the room one morning. A lot of celebrities would kind of pop in and out of Clubhouse rooms during the pandemic. And she and I connected over DM. And then based off of that, I ended up connecting with the executive director of her foundation, the She Ready Foundation for Foster Youth. So we partnered together for Giving Tuesday, and it's actually like one of the things I'm most proud of in my time there. We raised $50,000 in 6 hours for foster youth. And again, through this, I built a relationship with the executive director of her foundation. And when I went to LA a few months later, we met for coffee, and she talked to me all about everything charitable that Tiffany wanted to do in the community, not just supporting foster youth, but also that she cared about things like, food deserts and access to healthy foods. And like, I really feel like I got to know her charitable aspirations through the executive director of her foundation. But here's why I'm bringing all this up. So as we were setting up the Giving Tuesday event, so my like original background before I got into editorial and on my marketing agency, I worked in the nonprofit sector. My first job, I worked at the National Nonprofit for the UN Refugee Agency. And I remember when we were trying to raise money, you'd have these like rate cards, for lack of a better way to explain it. So instead of just telling people, give us this much money, give us this much money, give us this much money, you would translate those into real things. You would say, this donation will provide a refugee family with a tent. This donation will provide a refugee family with emergency medical care. This donation will provide a refugee family with blankets, right? Whatever the case may be. So I remember asking the executive director of the She Ready Foundation for those similar kind of like price points that we could share out with our audience when we were raising money on Giving Tuesday. And one of the things that I remember her talking about, and you can find interviews where Tiffany Haddish talks about this, they talked about the fact that one of their lowest tier donations was just for a suitcase. It was X amount of dollars for a suitcase, because one of the things that Tiffany had experienced as a foster youth herself, growing up in the foster care system, was the fact that she would go from place to place with her possessions in a trash bag. And she talked about how personally dehumanizing that was, and how even if you can just give a child the dignity of carrying their things from place to place in a suitcase instead of a trash bag, how meaningful that was. And I remember that story because, like, I literally, even whenever I donate, like my daughters grow out of clothes, I grew up kind of seeing donations in trash bags, and I didn't realize how dehumanizing it was to act like, here's my trash. So I'm super thoughtful now about like all of my donations, like what bag are they in? And that just really resonated with me. Here's why I'm bringing this up. Because when we want to talk about archetypal mean girl behavior, Tiffany Haddish's childhood, it's documented. Like, I'm not saying anything she hasn't said in interviews, was her going from one foster home to the next with her possessions in a trash bag. Nikki and Paris Hilton grew up at these fashion shows. If anyone knows the decorum that's expected at these fashion shows, it's Nikki and Paris Hilton. That's literally their upbringing. And so, as I said, it's like archetypal mean girl behavior to look at the new girl, to look at the outsider and challenge her to something that then everyone is going to make videos about. Why would she do this? It's so embarrassing. It's so this, it's so that. Like, that is gross mean girl behavior. And I have to tell you, I'm most disappointed to see it from Paris Hilton. And it's always like you're more disappointed by the people who you care about, believe in, would want to work with. Like, the thing is that, like, I honestly don't know anything about Nikki Hilton. I know it's not even her last name anymore. I don't know anything about Kathy Hilton. Like, literally the last time I watched Bravo, Kyle and Kim were the Hilton sisters that were, on Beverly Hills Housewives. But Paris has really made incredible moves in the past like 5 years. And even more so like year over year. I mean, in the past 18 months alone, the advocacy that she has taken on Capitol Hill for, childhood victims of abuse and who went through similar programs that she went through, like, she has become an advocate for children. She has, had really honest and hard conversations about abuse and PTSD. The investments that she's made in Web3 and in tech have been super interesting and super savvy. She's dropped the baby voice. Like, she's kind of kept the brand that has kept her in the public eye. But like, she has made so many moves that, like, I have been watching her in awe. And I'm so disappointed to see her part of this archetypal mean girl behavior. And again, it just goes to show that, like, you are who you surround yourself with. And we actually see that sometimes, right? So like, you'll see these kind of like old money boarding school type of behaviors. And sometimes you'll see someone like leave the nest and adopt a different value set. And then they go back and it's so disappointing to see that's how they would behave. It's such mean girl behavior. It's just so, like, you want to know who's lacking taste and decorum. I think to be born into that social set and dare someone who wasn't to do something that would make everyone laugh at them. It's like a moment that you would expect to see in like a teen coming of age comedy from like the Mean Girl. As I said, it's just archetypal high school mean girl behavior. Anyway, that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to talk about Tiffany Haddish and the Hiltons at New York Fashion Week. I'm going to stay in my lane. I specifically want to talk about a personal story that I have.
Okay. So I thought that was a very, very important take, particularly with Black women, and particularly because she is not Black. So the lady in that video was not Black. She's met Tiffany Haddish in real life. She kind of know a little bit more about her. For real, because she's actually met her, unlike majority of us. And I thought it was a very good take to kind of reel in us as Black women's like go-to take on people like Tiffany Haddish, who, had a very specific kind of childhood and a specific kind of upbringing in foster care and a specific type of like just the way Tiffany Haddish in general operate. Like, we are very harsh on Tiffany Haddish, and I don't have an opinion whether that's right or wrong. I think we all deserve to exist, and we're all navigating without any, much of a guide. But I thought that this woman's take in particular, it was very important because we tend to be very harsh on each other, and we tend to be, very hypocritical in an aggressive way on each other. I'm guilty too. I think because there's a certain level that we feel like when other people are doing things in the media, especially in the economy, in the society that we live in now, that it's a representation of us when it's really not. Like, I see myself, I understand that I'm Black. I see myself as a representative of myself and myself alone, but I know that's not how the majority of the world works. So also, I do understand why and how some of us can feel like Tiffany Haddish is representing us and being a caricature and being embarrassing. I think it would do us some good to not do that. But don't worry, because I'm gonna dig into Tiffany Haddish's ass too, because there comes a point where we can no longer, pretend that we're these helpless victims. At some point, we have to understand that not only are people victimizing us, but we are choosing to live, bake, and stew in a pot of victimization of our own, where when we see something happening with us, we don't dive deep in order to heal those areas. And I think that's what Tiffany Haddish has done. But I think this lady had a very good take, a very empathetic take, a very kind take that can kind of help us, even as Black women, put into perspective how we treat, how we, kind of navigate the space of Black people getting into a certain space that we were told wasn't ours. But we can also dig into the fact that, like she said, there needs to be commentary around. I think there's room for every take, but there needs to be important commentary, and there is, around people who grew up in this space, like the Hiltons, and they are probably feel like Tiffany Haddish does not deserve to be there. But this is why I say you have a choice to be victimizable. Somebody can attempt to victimize you. You can actually be a victim without having a victim mindset and without operating like a victim, because at the end of the day, nobody made Tiffany Haddish get up and interrupt this lady's hard work in her fashion show at New York Fashion Week and embarrass herself and walk around. I don't have secondhand embarrassment off of Tiffany Haddish. That's not a world I want to be in. And that's not, I don't believe every Black woman is a representation of me. But at the same time, it's like, just from a human to human perspective, girl, just because somebody treat you like you don't belong in a space, you belong there because you are there. Period. You belong wherever you are. You're there because you're there, and they can't take that away from you. And this is what I really want to say about, and this is why I did mention Paris Hilton, because I feel much like her. Like, I'm a light LITE version of like, I like Paris Hilton, removing like the racial, the wealth, get all of those things from just like human to human. From what I know about Paris Hilton and what I've seen over the years, I like Paris Hilton. And much like the lady in the video, it's a little disheartening, but also that was her mother. So there's a level to where, I don't know, I like Paris Hilton, but I don't like consume a lot of her content. Like, I watched maybe a couple of episodes of her reality TV show. Like, I know a little bit. I watched documentaries and stuff like that, but that was Paris Hilton's mother who was pressuring her to. So I don't necessarily, I'll say this, because she's an adult. I'll leave room for the fact that she may not, I don't know what her relationship is with her mother, but at the end of the day, that's her mother. And maybe she didn't feel comfortable saying, "Mom, that's rude," although that's what you should do as a child, as an adult child, to a parent who's doing something inappropriate, especially when you're more conscious and you're more aware. And I know Paris Hilton is, but she's a product of her environment. So at the end of the day, especially us as Black American people and Black people, like, there's a certain expectation we do not have from white people, point blank, period, particularly from white women. So it's like, at the end of the day, no matter how friendly you are, no matter how, how much you love or like and care for a white person, please expect them to do what white people do, and don't expect anything less or anything more of them. Bring your expectations down, because at the end of the day, especially when they're in a circle of hoarding wealth, their number one goal is to continue to hoard it and to keep it from everyone else, no matter what their moral stance is on a situation, because she chose not to correct her mother. Whether they feel like Tiffany Haddish wasn't deserving of being in that space or not, that's neither here nor there. She's there. She got invited. So that means she is in the exact space she was supposed to be in. Otherwise, she would not have gotten an invite. Now it's up to Tiffany Haddish to succumb to peer pressures because whatever trauma you experience, whatever like self-doubt and lack of confidence you experience, or you feel like you don't belong in a place. Nobody can tell you where you do and don't belong, period. And another thing before I move on to the next video, this is what it looks like when a group of people have hoarded wealth and have done treacherous things to hoard wealth, and they know they stole something that does not belong to them. This is what it looks like. This is what, like, whether it's, you know, when you fly first class, when you are in spaces where white people don't think black people should be or people of color should be, they start asking questions. Where do you work? Where are you from? Like, this has happened to many of us. If you have ever been in any sort of luxury space, where it's a hotel, whether it's, you know, first class flying, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, if you're in a space where people, a fancy restaurant, people are that have been conditioned to believe that you don't belong there, that people that look like you don't belong there, they're going to try to figure you out. But that's why it is very important for you to know and tailor your energy. So you have an unfuckwittable energy, because I can promise you there are a number of black celebrities that Hilton lady would not have done that to. She did it to Tiffany Haddish because Tiffany Haddish is what? Victimizable. And I got this from another video that I'm gonna play next. And then I'm gonna play the video of a black lady's take that I really liked. And then I'm gonna play the results of how the lady in whose fashion show it was, how the designer felt about Tiffany Haddish. And read between the lines, because that's what you need to do. That's what we always need to do all the time. Because these people's, especially, you know, the wealthy elites, their wealth, everything that they have are built on lies. And they are operating from insecurity as well. Because when your foundation is built on a lie, when it's built on treachery, when it's built on thievery, when it's built on, you know, false realities, you are also insecure and operating like an insecure person. Because why would a black woman or Tiffany Haddish presence irritate your spirit? Why does it bother you unless you think, you know, they always act like black people are going to take over the world, or worse, treat them the way they've treated us. But that's because they are insecure about their positions in society and the way they've been able and the things they had to do to hoard wealth. Their entitlement is built on lies. And that's why they feel the need to like safeguard something, because when you steal something, you're going to be paranoid the whole time you have it. You'll be looking over your shoulder like, what does he want? Why is he here? Don't let the person you stole it from be around you. You're going to do everything you can to get that person away from you and out of that space. That is what the Hilton lady, that is what people like her do. When your wealth is based on bullshit, when your wealth is based on lies, you having something makes you afraid and insecure. And that's how they all act, because she know it doesn't belong to her. And then I'm going to play the next video. And this lady also had a very good take. Not as nice as the previous lady, but very, very valid. So I'm going to play this really quickly because my God. It's insane. And that's why we have to get to a place where we're confident, we're like unbothered.
In the runway. at a show that was not hers to walk. Not because she did it, but why she did it. And I just watched a video and there was a comment on it regarding this that was saying those Hilton women would have never done this to like Beyonce. And there's a reason for this. When you move into a new town, the vultures, they can pick out the newcomer who needs them. Bullies and mean girls can like spot a pick me from a mile away. And a pick me is someone with low self-esteem. The when you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. And that's what happened here. Tiffany Haddish did not have the self-esteem as you would have seen Beyonce in this moment. Because first of all, the Hilton people would have never even attempted to ask Beyonce to do this because they would have felt by her very presence, her very aura would have let the Hiltons know to never ask Beyonce to do this sort of stunt. So I want you to tap into the energy of Beyonce versus the energy of Tiffany Haddish in this moment and how they victimized Tiffany because she was victimizable. She was a pick-me energy. She was leaning into them for approval. Beyonce would have never leaned into the Hiltons for approval. If anything, they would have leaned into Beyonce for Beyonce's approval. Feel how that feels. Like kind of lean into what I'm saying here. And so if you tend to be someone who is easily victimized, lean into your inner Beyonce, your inner Lady Gaga, and feel how that feels so different than leaning into the like me, you know.
And this is what I want to say really quickly. Like, while after she just said that, before I lose my train of thought, the Beyonce energy, right? And this was what I want Black women to experience, because a lot of us have experienced secondhand embarrassment from Tiffany Haddish actions and all this shenanigans that she get into. But just like this lady said, there are certain Black women like Beyonce, they would never, ever have done this to. You as a regular person can do the same thing in your, in your own life. If you come across a situation like this, if you're flying first class and somebody come up to you asking you, what do you do for work? Where are you? Are you blah, 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 blah. And it's like people try to put you in a box. It doesn't matter if people try to put you in a box. If you're not in a box and you don't belong in a box, you're not going to be in a box. It doesn't matter what people try to do. If they can't process that you are not in a box, that's not your problem. So don't internalize what people like Tiffany Haddish do, the things Tiffany Haddish does, as it's a reflection of you. You can internalize Beyonce, how people treat Beyonce, as being a reflection of you. Now, there are certain things even Beyonce experience, right, that maybe a white lady would not experience. But at the same time, understand the energy that you give off is a big factor in how people treat you and how people read you. So don't waste your time internalizing or having secondhand embarrassment based off what women like Tiffany Haddish does, because another Black woman will come in the room and won't get treated like that. See yourself in her. It's as simple as that, because it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter the confinements they try to understand you as. It matters what you set up. That's their problem. If they can't understand why you belong there and why you're there, that's their problem. That's not your problem. Period.
Love me. I'll do anything to get you to like me. Where like Lady Gaga and Beyonce don't have to do that. And find inside of yourself if that lives inside of you. And if that's why you're picking the wrong friends, the wrong career, the wrong experience, etc. Because that exudes from you. You might have the best hair, the best outfit, the best makeup, all of the things. But this energy that you carry around with you is bigger and louder than you are. And in the moment of Tiffany Haddish being victimized by bullies, she came in with a beautiful outfit. She looked stunning, but her energy preceded all of that. It jumped ahead of all of the beauty and success that she's had because that is who she is inside. She is a victim inside of self. And they picked up on that. And so will everyone around you if you are a victim. And this is what people prey on. This is what, bosses prey on, friends, society preys on. They pick up that like a dog. And the Hiltons picked up on that in Tiffany like a dog. So recognize that in self. Are you walking around in your Beyonce energy, or are you walking around in your victim energy? Because that energy precedes everything that you have going on outside of self. So I hope that helps.
Amen. Okay, she was preaching. She was preaching. I'm gonna play the next video because she also had a very good take and coming from a Black woman.
So everybody's talking about Tiffany Haddish crashing the Monte runway show during New York Fashion Week, and understandably so. But I don't hear nearly enough people talking about the implications this has for the Hiltons and what it says about them. So I'm going to take it upon myself to do it. There is a difference between white people and people who happen to be white. The Hiltons are white people. What do I mean by that? In that moment, the way they were talking, the way Kathy was talking to her specifically, was very demanding, very aggressive, suggests that she doesn't look at Tiffany as an equal. She looks at Tiffany as somebody who's there to provide her with a service, that service being entertainment. Tiffany just sitting down side by side with the Hiltons is not where Kathy thinks she should be, subconsciously, psychologically, because that implies that they are peers and that they are equals. One of the symptoms of a white person, not a person who happens to be white, is that they have a strong response mechanism to being in the room with POC, definitely Black people, who are there under the same pretenses, and you're not there to provide them with a service. Even if the service is just to be unnecessarily, aggressively jovial and put them at ease. And as myself, I can speak on my life and say that I've been around both types. I've been around white people and people who happen to be white, and I've been around them across various socioeconomic thresholds. The people who feel the need to be entertained always reveal themselves immediately upon interacting with me, because I don't feel pressured to entertain you. I don't feel pressured to justify why I'm here. Knowing that the odds are not in my favor, I probably have more merit than most of the people in this room to be here. I'm not going to walk around and wear that on my shoulders, but that's the reality of the world that we live in. And I deal with the world as it is, not as it should be. Those white people never liked me. I've never had a white friend, but I've had friends who have happened to be white, because the white people who were in the room with me, I made them incredibly uncomfortable. I didn't feel the need to try and disarm them and get them to like me. I don't care if you like me, because like I said, I'm here on merit. I deserve to be here off the strength, whether I come in here and I do this with everybody in the room, or if I sit here and I just stare and I take in the environment. Either way you slice it and dice it, I deserve to be here. So I'm not going to apologize for that by trying to make you feel better about my presence. That interaction at the Monse show just shows that Kathy, I'm going to single out Kathy because she's the one who did most of the talking. And even though the laughter from her children didn't do them any favors, in my opinion, but I'm going to focus on the person who actually did the talking. That interaction shows me that Kathy does not have, I'm not going to say any Black people, but she doesn't have a significant enough number of Black people in her life that she views as peers and colleagues, never mind friends. Mm-hmm. Because if she did, she would have never felt comfortable approaching Tiffany Haddish like that in a public place. And Tiffany, unfortunately, is one of those Black people and POCs who feels like they have to justify why they are in the same space. I'm not one of those people. And I guarantee you, if Tiffany was not one of those people, Kathy would not like her. Kathy would be very passive aggressive with her. Kathy would have a lot of microaggressions towards her. And why do I feel comfortable saying that with my whole chest? Because that is what white people, not people who happen to be white, have done to me my whole life. So everybody's talking about Tiffany Haddish crashing the Monte
Amen.
runway show during New York Fashion Week, and understandably so. But I don't hear nearly.
Amen. A whole word. A whole word. Like everything. What is there even to add? Just don't be a person that people, your energy is everything, right? And just like she said, one of the biggest things that I find very important that she said is white people do not like you. White people who think like them do not like you when you have a certain energy. Now, they might be microaggressive, which means they don't have the courage to do what Kathy did to Tiffany, but they will try you in their like microaggressive ways. When you exude a certain energy to where, they're a little afraid that, they don't know how to take you. I've always been one of those people that people have found difficult to read. And when they find you difficult to read, they don't really know how to handle you. They don't know what box to try to put you in. That's why I'm going to go to what I believe is my solutions. But that's why, for me, I don't say too much. I keep very quiet. If I'm in a space like whether it's me flying first classes, and I don't fly first class very often, but I have flown first class and have been in certain spaces and stuff where you can kind of tell people are, they're trying to figure out. Y'all remember the Perfect Holiday? I think it was is it the Perfect Holiday with Queen Latifah? Oh, I love that movie. But where Queen Latifah was, she was a worker and she thought she got misdiagnosed and thought she was gonna, she only had a couple of months to live, and so she blew through her retirement after like being a very cool person that saved. And all of the people at this wealthy, Swiss Alps lodge, like, was trying to figure out who is this black lady who's throwing money around and who's buying up a whole table of food, and the chef is coming and ignoring us. That's the same thing. This is how these people operate, and they're operating off of their entitlement that's based in lies and falsehoods, right? So they don't know how to place you. So the best thing you can do is keep quiet. Don't answer their questions. Don't try to make, as she said, don't try to make them feel comfortable. Don't try to ease their minds on why you deserve to be in a space. If you exist in that space, you deserve to be there, period. Now, let's see, because the designer is an Asian lady. So let's watch the response she had to Tiffany Haddish, right? Very interesting.
I had no idea when people were laughing in the middle of her ending, and I was like, did the do something wrong? And then everyone was like, Tiffany, she destroyed. Everyone laughed.
We did the whole walk. I walked the whole thing. I almost went down the stairs, and I walked around to my seat, and I was sitting into my seat like I wasn't doing it.
I knew I made a mistake when I put two of you together.
I love that. The danger. First of all, the Haddish with the Hilton, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a memorable moment.
And it's like, I'm not going to give Tiffany Haddish grace, I can't talk, grace, and saying she doesn't know she fucked up. Like, she's trying to excuse the behavior, and she's recording this to make it seem like, oh, everything is okay. They're not upset when these people are clearly like, they want to smack the shit out of her. The guy literally said, I knew it was a mistake putting y'all together. Hey, you know, is this like a regular behavior with the Hiltons? Like, is this a regular behavior for them? Do they bully people normally? Do they like call shenanigans and stuff? The outright disrespect of this lady's show. And then the designer, let me tell you something. If I was a fashion designer or I was doing any kind of show and some bobblehead bimbo decided to get up and interrupt my show, I wouldn't even have that much grace, where she's smiling in her face with the microaggressions. But let's keep going.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope I get invited again. Because when I got up, no, wait, but when I got up, the man said, wait.
And baby, this is why Marlon Wayans said that Tiffany Haddish is too much, because she's too much. Like, I know she probably understands that she fucked up, but I also think that she recorded that to kind of smooth things over, maybe for the people. But it's like, they clearly will not invite you to a show ever again. I wouldn't invite her to a show ever again. And they're laughing in her face, when really they probably want to cuss her out for ruining the show. And maybe Kathy Hilton does shenanigans like this for the man to be like, you know, I knew it was a mistake putting you beside them. Maybe they're like the like uncouth wealthy people that's like in a space, and they're used to them maybe doing weird stuff in fashion shows, but they like have to keep inviting them. You know who they don't have to keep inviting? Tiffany. Okay. And they were trying to keep it cordial and keep it cute by not like all out cussing her out. Listen. So this is the thing. Are you victimizable? Please don't find yourself like in a predicament like this where you feel like you have to justify why you're in a space. The first thing you can ask yourself, if you feel like you could be potentially victimizable, like if you can be potentially caught up in a space where you feel like you have to justify why you're in a situation, why you're in a space. First of all, off the gate, wear shades, wear hater blockers, because already that makes you mysterious. People can't make eye contact with you. So if you're not confident in the energy that you have, and you know, sometimes I go in spaces where, you know, if I'm in a mood where I don't really want to be in public, or I'm in a mood where I don't want to speak to people or talk to people or be friendly, I wear shades. And shades is an acceptable attire for New York Fashion Week. Not that I've ever been in New York Fashion Week, but they had on sunglasses. I don't know if it's appropriate when it's on the runway, but I imagine it is. It's a part of fashion. Wear shades. If you are in a space and you're not confident, the eyes are the window to the soul. You know, keep your head up. Literally, keep your head up. Put your shades on so these people can't make eye contact with you, and so that you are you can ignore people. You can act like you don't see them. Make sure you wear shades dark enough. If you're not bold enough, like me, make sure you wear shades dark enough to where people can't see your eyes. Act like you don't hear them. Don't entertain people's nonsense. Are you acting from a place of lack of belonging, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-assurance? If you get invited to a space, that space is exactly where you belong. Hell, if you crash a space, that space is exactly where you belong until you get kicked out. Listen, the solution is simple. Keep your head on a swivel. Always watch, always pay attention. Research the spaces you're going to be in. Have a game plan on how you're going to act so that you're not clutching your pearls, because I don't know why Black people still act surprised and people of color act surprised when, you know, white people show their ass and get microaggressive or start asking you questions, ignore them. Who are they to tell you you don't belong to a place? Who are they for you to feel the need to have to explain why you exist in a space? Why are you speaking to me? I'm a goddess. Like, that's how I act. Why are you speaking to me? I don't care if you got way more money than me. Why are you talking to me? Treat them like they poor. Treat them like scum on the bottom of your shoe, because spiritually they are. Like, ma'am, why are you speaking to me? You're a stranger. I don't know you. Why are you asking me personal questions? I feel uncomfortable. Do what they do. It does not matter what anyone thinks of you. Literally. Had Tiffany Haddish ignored, it doesn't matter whether a random person beside you, I don't care whether they're a bum on the street or a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Like, what am I going to do with your opinion? I can't take it to the bank and cap it. I damn sure can't buy common sense with it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what box you think I'm in. And they get very uncomfortable when you don't allow them to place you in a box, because they ask questions and they pry to try to figure out how they should treat you. I'm not going to help you do that. I'm not going to help you disrespect me. And I'm also not going to try to justify why I deserve respect. You're going to respect me, or I'm not going to respect you. But for the sake of argument, why are you speaking to me? I ignore people. Because why are you talking to me? I look at you like you stink. If you come to me, start walking around like that other lady said. Like, start walking around like you own the place. That energy alone, listen, it may be somebody bold enough to still try to ignore them. Like, are they going to keep talking to themselves? That's going to make them look even more stupid. God forbid TMZ is recording Kathy Hilton talking to the side of my face. I think Tiffany Haddish might be invited back as a jester. Maybe she's a clown. If they want a clown and pony show, they might invite her back. She might come and do something more stupid. Because somebody like her, you know, and it's crazy because when people get so deep in their cycles, they think it's okay. And I honestly think that Tiffany Haddish maybe does a lot of things behind the scenes that get her invited to certain places. But I think there's a level of comfort from white people when they meet people like Tiffany Haddish, Black people like Tiffany Haddish, because to them it makes sense. A Black woman who's going to pretend, who's going to act like she don't belong in a space, that makes sense to a wealthy white person, to an ignorant white person who genuinely believe their programming and believe that they're the only ones that, you know, belong in that space. So they might invite her back. I think that's probably where, because at the stupid shit that Tiffany Haddish does, she still get invited places. It has not affected her career. And I think a big part of that could be because she's the court jester. Like, she's the goofy Black girl that people are comfortable putting Black people into that space. Yes, they love a good stereotype. They love when somebody fits into something that makes sense to them, no matter how stupid it is. Be like Riri. I think I remember what you're talking about with Naomi. I think I remember what you're talking about. Listen, they love it. But this part, they might actually bring her back just for the simple fact that, you know, I think that's a big reason why they invite her to a lot of places anyway. Because she's goofy and she's a clown. And even in that video, like, she was Like, I don't think, like, I know she understood that they were not happy with her behavior, but she's again doubling down in her stupidity. And it's like at some point, no matter what trauma you've experienced, you got to pull yourself out of that. Nobody can save you but you. And I think Tiffany Haddish liked being the court jester. I think that is the lane she has chosen to take to be in a certain space, to be a celebrity. And at this point, she's typecasted herself. So, you know, nothing is solid. I believe anything can happen. But at the same time, now, I don't even know if Tiffany Haddish would still be relevant if she wasn't in full-on shenanigan mode. I really don't. Like, we'll see. Yeah. I think white people will hate that she changed. I think they will be very upset if she try to switch up. I think black people would be okay with it. You know, and I want her to be herself. There's an element to Tiffany Haddish that we all like, especially like when she came out in that movie with Jada Pinkett and Queen Latifah. Like, I know I did. I mean, Tiffany Haddish has been around for a very long time, Def Comedy Jam days. But I think maybe she got a big break in the industry. And that and like she became more of a, like, I don't know, maybe B-list celebrity, maybe C or B-list celebrity. So she's trying to stick into that, but then she's overdoing it. Like, she's tap dancing and doing all of these things to keep white people comfortable, which is what the black lady was saying. So it's just very interesting to me. And people will always try you, right? People have tried me in certain ways. I am grateful that I exude a certain energy where people are very, I don't want to say intimidated, but people approach me with caution because I'm just one of those people that people have a difficult time reading. And like I said before, if I am in a space where, you know, I'm not my normal self, I'm not exuding a certain amount of energy, I will pop on a pair of shades quick and just ignore everybody. That's an easy go-to tactic when you don't want to be bothered in any scenario. Facts. She probably would have ran up there and made a joke about it. Like, and I don't necessarily think it was anything wrong with Tyla, like, asking somebody to hold it. Like, I'm, you know, depending on who was on the stage, I might have did it the same. I probably wouldn't have did that. Let me be for real. I probably wouldn't have did that. But in certain scenarios, like, I don't think inherently it was anything wrong with Tyla doing that. I just think that she has that, like, mixed girl mindset. Like, she has that, and not just because she's mixed, because we all can do it. Like, monoracial black people can do it, but there is a level to that where people, like, girl, you're doing too much. You won an award, be grateful enough that you won the award and just fucking hold the award. Like, it's so heavy, sorry. And her apologizing about it means she felt some sort of guilt about it. And you know it's inappropriate because I saw somebody compare it to when Michael Jackson tried to treat Eddie Murphy like he was the help and asked him to move the mic, and he was like, you do it. And Eddie Murphy legit didn't do it. Because we understand that there's a certain level of, like, entitlement that goes with that. That's like, it's like weird. I'm not your assistant. And that's why I love Haley was just sitting there smiling. Haley did not go to pick up that award. And it was the funniest thing. She's like, I'm not holding that. I'm not your maid. Like, but yeah, we don't have to be, whether we are victims or not, whether people try to victimize us, whether people try to box us in, that is a choice. What people have going on in their reality doesn't have anything to do with me. And that's a lesson Tiffany Haddish should learn. You don't need to feel like you don't belong in a space. And a good thing Tiffany Haddish could have done, use your goofiness to get in a space and then switch up on them. Switch up on them and turn into a baddie. Because like the other lady said, Tiffany Haddish was dressed to the nines. Like her outfit, gorgeous. Her outfit was gorgeous. You look like you fit, but that energy was rank. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here because it's almost an hour. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all were able to get something out of it. I hope you enjoyed the live. I don't know if y'all saw the videos on TikTok. But they were really good. And it was a really good take because I do believe that we can be harsh with each other and there is a certain level of grace we should extend to each other. But at the same time, we can do that and call out weirdo behavior. Like, you don't have to be a caricature. You don't have to confine yourself. And more importantly, because Tiffany Haddish is grown and she do what she want to do. But more importantly, we as the everyday Black woman, we don't have to internalize the way other people see us. That's their problem. Because if they were secure in the positions they had, they wouldn't be fighting tooth and nail and being mean girls and embarrassing themselves and showing how disgusting of human beings they are to try to keep it. But that's how someone acts when they have something that don't belong to them and they know they don't. They know it doesn't belong to them. You start acting really funny and really cautious and really territorial when you stole something. And the people you stole it from is somewhere lurking around. And you're trying your damnedest to keep them out of the way. With that being said, I will see y'all in the next video. I'm going to start doing, I'm not going to leave, TikTok. But I'm going to start doing more lives and working my way back to YouTube. TikTok just became easier for me and more convenient, but I love YouTube. I started my YouTube channel back in like 2018, 2019. And then I took a break in like 2021 that didn't really end. So yeah, I'll be posting on TikTok and stuff when I'm going live. And, so that y'all know, join in. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I will see y'all in the next video. Or I'll probably see y'all on TikTok tonight.